Hi, and welcome to this live reading from Monty and the Monster by Rhonda Smiley, and this is presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Chapter 1. Move, butt wipe. That's Kyle, my older brother, trying to shove me out of the way with the door of the U-Haul so he can get out. Normally, I'd fight back with some name-calling of my own, but I'm paralyzed with disgust as I stand before the ugliest house I've ever seen. And there's so much of it, too. 3 stories, 4 if you count the attic, of peeling paint, dangling shutters, and boarded-up windows. A forest of weeds taller than me has burgeoned from the cracks in the front walkway, and I wonder if anyone thought to pack a machete. Kyle manages to knock me aside with the door and exits the truck. He towers a foot over me. More than our 6-year difference should allow, if you ask me. It's not that I'm jealous much. It's that I'm almost 13. Shouldn't I be taller by now? He unties my magician's cape and it falls off, hitting the ground before I realize what's happening. Kyle! It's real satin and not easy to keep clean. I snatch it up, wipe it off, and put it back on. Dad jumps out of the driver's side and inhales deeply as he steps between Kyle and me. He puts his arms around us like we're all in this together, even though I had nothing to do with it. With a beaming smile, he says, "Does this house have character or what?" "What?" Kyle and I say at the same time. Dad bounds up the wobbly steps of the porch and disappears inside. I fear for his life, but Kyle follows him, and so I figure there's safety in numbers. Resigned to having no vote in my own life, I try to coax Watson out of the front seat. He's the basset hound I've had for 5 years in 3 houses, not including this one. He didn't do anything to deserve this, but no one gets to choose their family, and he's stuck with us. "Come on, Watson, you live here too." Watson scuttles back in protest. "Right, why should you listen to me? I'm only the guy who picks up your poop." He stares at me steadfast, but I'm not in the mood to argue over who's boss. I half drag, half lift the bundle of fur and slobber off the seat and deposit him on the ground. "You're welcome." Watson sticks to me like Velcro now as I go to the back of the truck and raise the cargo door. Cardboard boxes identified by the Sharpie labeling system take up most of the trailer. Our beds take up the rest. As far as our other furniture, Dad leaves that to the professionals. Hopefully that won't be a week late like the last time we moved. I hop in, but Watson can't make the jump and watches from outside with his paws on the bumper. I climb over the boxes, ignoring the fragile or handle with care warnings because Dad put something similar on every box, regardless of its contents. Wedged between utensils and home movies is what I'm looking for. My favorite skateboard. I pry it loose and hop out of the truck. Skateboard under my arm and Watson on my heels, I trudge up the steps. The front door has glass panels on top, but you'd never know from the street. That's how dirty they are. I swing the door wide open and a repulsive smell like sweaty toe jam hits me hard. My insides revolt, threatening to unleash 2 Twinkies and a bag of Twizzlers projectile style, but I'm able to stop the mutiny. Closing off the part of my esophagus that leads to the back door of my nose, I've become a mouth breather so I can enter without puking. I stay by the front door and take it all in. The main floor is huge. Like, mansion huge. If it wasn't a dump, I'd think we were rich, but even the cobwebs have cobwebs. To my right, against the wall, a staircase leads up to the 2nd and 3rd floors. Off the landing, or foyer as Dad calls these things, a living room goes on forever until it becomes the dining room, where a brass chandelier hangs from a rusty chain over nothing. Which is good, since most of the links are coming apart. With no furniture, curtains, or rugs, I'm afraid to guess what the stench is from. At least Dad's removing boards from some of the broken windows to allow a cleansing breeze in. And on the bright side, the wood floors have nicks and scratches all over, so Watson won't have to worry about ruining them, like he worries about anything other than food, walks, and licking his privates. I sail off the landing on my board, pulling a sweet 360, and Dad gives me one of his disapproving looks. "Monty, what did I say about skateboarding in the house?" "I thought that was only when we lived in nice houses." Kyle laughs. "Burn." "Monty," Dad starts with his sympathetic posture, but I cut him off. "What? It's not like I'm going to trash the floors. Look at them." He sighs, and I know I hurt his feelings, but I can't take another one of his chats. I wish people would stop writing books telling parents how to talk to their kids. Let's get the boxes, he says. Grumbling, I turn to exit and find myself in the face of a wonky-eyed old man. Ah! I stumble back. The man bypasses me unfazed and pulls Dad in for a kiss. Wet, sloshy contact, left cheek, left cheek. Kyle glances over with his best yikes look, and Watson growls, but from the safety of the dining room. Robert, the ancient says. Robert, Robbie, Rob. He actually tears up. Dr. Robert Hyde, look at you. He pulls Dad in for another kiss, but Dad extricates himself with a smile. Still, the guy stays nose to nose with him. It's good to see you, Dr. Petrovic, Dad says. So this is Dad's new boss. His old college professor, Dr. Petrovic. He looks more like a mad scientist with his nest of stringy gray hair, long bushy beard, stained lab coat, and army boots. We are close, Robert. Very, very close. I'll say. They'd be married in some states. You had a good trip? You're rested? You'll be in class tomorrow? Will you be in class tomorrow, Robert? I don't have all day. Answer me. Yes, I'll be there. The doctor lets out a sigh that smells like pastrami, and for the second time in one day I find myself fighting vomit convulsions. Not a good omen, but a woman's voice sends everything back down. Hi, Robert. It's the way she said it. Hi, Robert. Like she's his girlfriend or something. Hi, Robert. Tee-hee. Sickening. Disheveled and harried, same as the doctor, she's also wearing a lab coat with stains on it. Her hair's in a messy ponytail with curly strands escaping every which way. But she's pretty, really pretty for someone as old as Dad. I look over to him and he's all goo-goo-eyed. Ashanta, he says with the same chumminess she used and throws his arms around her in a big hug. I turn to glance at Kyle, but he grins this time. My best recourse is to roll my eyes. I'm agitated, and I don't even know why. What are you doing here? Dad asks. Didn't Dr. Petrovic tell you? I'm his associate professor. The doctor yanks her with him as he makes for the exit like a bank robber. See you in class tomorrow, Bobby Boo. You said so. They're out the door in a flash, but not before Ashanta looks over her shoulder at Dad. He waves with a giggle. A giggle. From a grown man. Who's that? I get right to the point. Arms crossed, resting on the tail of my board with the nose up to show how serious I am. That's my new boss, Dr. Petrovic, Dad says. I glare at him, reminding him I'm not the jock in the family. Oh, you mean her. She's an old college friend. With benefits? Kyle asks. Don't be crude, Dad says, then turns to me. Say, why don't you take a tour of the university with Kyle later? Maybe you'll go to my old alma mater, too. Nice deflection. As if. Kyle stomps on the nose of my board, throwing me off. You know you have to actually go outside to make friends, Monty. The house doesn't come with them. Whatever. I pop my board up, tucking it under my arm, because I'm cool like that. Whatever, Kyle mocks, reminding me I'm not cool like that. Quit it, I retort. Quit it, he says. Shut up. Shut up. Dad. Dad. Kyle. Dad says, too little, too late. I'm already out the door. What? Got him out of the house, didn't I? Kyle says. I hear them through the broken windows. Monty doesn't adjust as well as you do. You're supposed to help him. Dad, helping Monty is a full-time job. Nice. I jump onto my board, grab my helmet from the back of the U-Haul, and skate off. I hate this place. Hate it even more than the last one. Chapter 2. I wasn't lying when I said I didn't want to tour Clear Rock University. But when your neighborhood is basically campus, it's hard not to get the tour once you go outside. All the houses in this gated community, nicknamed Krampus, are owned by the university and are for faculty and their families, ours included. Dad says the nickname is short for Clear Rock Campus, but I think it's because you feel crammed into a neighborhood. The houses span a square mile or so, starting at the main entrance. Past the houses closer to the school are the dorms for students whose families are lucky enough to not work here. And past those, taking up half the neighborhood, are the ivy-covered brick buildings of Clear Rock U. Administration, fine arts, liberal arts, business and law, library, and science. Dad pitched it with such joy you'd have thought we were moving to Disneyland. Me, I'd rather eat Brussels sprouts than live here. All school, all the time? That's just cruel. A car honks behind me, annoyed I'm skating in the street, so I pop and ollie onto the sidewalk, not wanting to make enemies. I pass some guys playing football on one of the front lawns, and we exchange glances. I'm pretty sure they're around my age, but they don't say anything to me. When I get to the end of the block, I circle back, determined to introduce myself. Who's making friends now, Kyle? But I chicken out and keep going. One of them says, "Weirdo," and they all laugh. Whatever. I don't play football anyway. I weave through the neighborhood, on the verge of self-pity when I'm halted by that familiar sound. Wheels on cement. At the end of the street, 2 teens on their boards catch air off the curb and keep going. No way! Last place we lived, nobody skated. I keep pace without getting too close to them, maybe half a block behind. They skate toward the science building, but they're too young to be in college, so I keep following. Students, who for some reason are compelled to go to the library on the weekend, skirt out of the way of the 2 skaters, even though signs forbid skateboards, rollerblades, and bicycles on the walkway. I don't get the same respect and nearly wipe out when a square-headed troll pulls a fake lunge to intimidate me. My board gets away, but I'm still on my feet, and I chase after and hop back on. The walkway branches off to the left, going around the science building, which is where the skaters go. As I circle the building to follow, I'm awestruck. Hidden behind the academia is a real-life Xanadu. A skate park. It's past the playground and picnic areas, softball and soccer fields, tennis and basketball courts. Foregoing the path, I pop up my board and sprint across the grass and beeline. I can't get there fast enough. As I catch my breath outside the gate, the awesomeness drenches me like Splash Mountain. A bowl, hips, curbs, spines, ramp, and a full pipe spilling in from the snake run. It's teeming with skaters, mostly guys, but a few girls too. Some of the thrashers are good, but not as good as me. I round the gate until I find the entrance and go in. Skaters look my way briefly, a few with smirks before turning back to their tricks. Playing it cool, I saunter to the bowl and wait for an opening. Etiquette first. When it's clear, I drop in, carving the bowl nice and easy to get a feel for it. The surface is smooth, not like the pool on the foreclosure property I used to sneak onto back in Ohio, 2 houses ago. Skating is my comfort zone, even with a bunch of strangers, and I'm happy for the first time since we piled into the U-Haul. Most of the skaters do simple grabs and stalls, and I do the same for a few runs to fit in. No one's saying anything to me yet, no nods or hellos, but I still get a sideways glance here and there. In an attempt to spark some interaction, I amp up my game. Sailing majestically off the lip, I nail 180 before landing flawlessly in the bowl. As I exit on the other side, I catch my board midair. No big deal. And casually turn to get some recognition. But no one's looking at me because they're busy crowding this hotshot who enters doing a caballerial kickflip like it's nothing. Typical. No matter where we move, there's always one of those. The type where everything comes easy for him, even his stupid good looks. For once, I'd like to be the popular guy in the room. I'm so inside my head, I don't realize I'm staring directly at a girl until she says, "What are you gawking at, Dracula?" I snap to, "Dracula? I'm a magician, not a vampire." But I pretend I don't hear her and drop in, carving the bowl, no tricks. My insides beg to look back, but I don't have the nerve. I'm pretty sure she's cute and that her eyes are brown because the first thing I thought of was whoppers. Big, round whoppers. Ignoring the boisterous crowd, I do my own thing, but the popular guy drops in intentionally too close to me. I spin to avoid a collision and, crud monkeys! My board flies out from under me and I hit the wall in only the most awkward position known to man before sliding to the bottom. "He eats it," the cute girl says, laughing. I get a good look at her now. She has long, black hair, pulled back in a ponytail, caramel-colored skin, and a mouthful of perfect teeth. I can see them all due to her laughter. "Yeah, no!" screams Mr. Popular because he isn't getting enough attention. My face is on fire, redder than Mars. Since I'm not lucky enough to be struck by lightning, I pretend to think it's funny too and chuckle as I get to my feet. "The poser's laughing at himself," says Mr. Popular, and the others laugh harder. I grab my board and climb out of the bowl.